Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another series in Finding Jaden. I'm yours truly, Laton Alando White, where I bring to you the latest development in regarding finding Jaden Smith. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if the superintendent of police has said that the investigation is alive and well, that's the latest information we have from the police to say the investigation is alive and well. But the questions still remain to the Jamaica Constabulary Force and to the Superintendent of Police for Mandeville. Yes, now we know that the investigation is alive and well. Is Jaden Smith alive and well? I think we're getting closer to finding Jaden Smith. But the question is, even if Jaden Smith was found, or if Jaden Smith is in a place of safety, according to my conclusion, who will be the one to break the news to Jamaica regarding Jaden Smith? Well, one of my listeners, Beverly Reed, asked me a question, and her question is this: Sir, why did Jaden Smith went after an incident in his home? Part 2 of her question says, you haven't touched that subject. Is there a reason why? Well, thank you very much, Beverly, for that question. I do believe that the incident that happened in the home of Jaden Smith is a normal and typical situation. Accident can happen to anyone at any time. And therefore, regarding the incident in the home, that I would leave up to the investigators and also to the medical officers at the Mandeville Regional Hospital. Because I had been in a situation, as I said to you, I live close to the family of Jaden Smith, in close proximity, not too far away. I had situation in my home before where my child also got hurt and I had to take the child to hospital. My child also got hurt at school and the principal had to take the child to school. Notice what I said? The principal had to take my child to the hospital. Yes, I had a child who had an injury in school and the principal took the child to the hospital. The doctor was notified what happened. I was called from where I was working, and not just that, I had to answer questions because not long after, child development agency representatives would have visited my home. And remember, the incident didn't happen in my home, it happened at school. So, Beverly, I would not go much into the incident at the home because you and I were not there and we don't know what happened in the home. And I have a question. What is my question? Was the child really hurt in the home? Well, it's just a question, not a speculation. As for part 2 of your question, Beverly, why I have not touched on the subject regarding what happened to the child in the home, I don't need to go there because my focus is on the Child Care Protection Act that I do believe has a lot to do with regarding finding Jaden Smith. For example, let me take you, ladies and gentlemen, to a proposal that was made by the Joint Select Committee of Parliament in 2017 to 2018. Maybe the police investigators need to hear this too. It says, one of the recommendations that was made by the Joint Select Committee to the Minister of Education and the Ministry of Education in 2017 and 18, and please note, there was a police that was also on this Joint Selected Committee. It says, we propose strengthening the programs and services available for the implementing the Child Care Protection Act and enforcing the child's right to protection from violence. Why? I do believe that Jaden Smith would be in the care of the Child Family Protective Agency because I do believe that it is their job to protect Jaden from violence. Jaden was just 12 years old, and any child under the Child Care Protection Act that is brought in a situation or found themselves in a situation that may be heading to the court would need to be protected by the Child Care Protection Act. and also the Child Family Protective Service Agency. And I do believe that Jaden Smith was a quite fit. Not to mention, ladies and gentlemen, my investigation would have also led me to find out that the Child Development Agency, before the name was changed, had an open file on Jaden Smith before Jaden was even 5 years old. And the reason why Jaden Smith would have been now living with his aunt and his uncle-in-law is because they would have provided a better, safer, and more protected home for Jaden Smith. One that would have the necessary provisions for him to be happy and have the necessary schooling that he would have needed. But now that Jaden Smith has matriculated to the education system where he is now transferred into high school, wouldn't it be the perfect time, after hearing of this incident with this child, for the Family Protective Service to step in? It's just a question, not a speculation. Let's continue with the Child Care Protection Act recommendation by the Joint Select Committee of Parliament. It continues to say, as the content of the law is only as effective as the programs and services designed to implement them, we urge the Minister, the Honourable Minister, in keeping with the progressive implementation of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, to put such in place administrative and social support systems as are necessary to ensure adherence to and enforcement of the law. And they continue to mention in Statement A, within the child protection, early childhood and education portfolios, we specifically recommend increasing the number of guidance counselors, psychologists, social workers, parenting and child development specialists deployed in schools and communities, as well as increasing the availability of therapeutic initiatives designed to address both child victims and child perpetrators of violence. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion to my presentation today, I ask you the question, and I also ask the investigators the question. I ask you, the public, the question. I ask those of you who do believe that the things I'm saying makes no sense. I want you to go to the Child Care Protection Act, especially the revision of the 2017 and 2018 presentation to the Parliament of Jamaica by the Joint Select Committee, and a recommendation to the Ministry of Education to do what? To increase the number of guidance counselors, psychologists, social workers, parenting and child development specialists deployed in school. Do you see where I'm going? Many of you are attacking the principal of the Manchester High School, and many of you are attacking me to say that I am defending the principal of the Manchester High School. No, I am saying to you, let's think, ladies and gentlemen. Wake up, Jamaica. Let's not be naive. Let's not be too arrogant. Let's pause. Let's think. Let's reason. If the Child Development Agency had an open file on Jaden Smith, from Jaden Smith was, let's say, 5. Now Jaden Smith would have been 12. Don't you think the Child Development Agency or the Child Care Protective Family Service Agency would have enough information on Jaden Smith? Don't you think the principal alone would not be the one in the case with Jaden Smith? If the Joint Select Committee had recommended all these persons to be increased in schools, such as counselors, psychologists, social workers, parenting and child development specialists, who are these people? Which one of these persons did Jaden Smith meet? Which one of these persons did Jaden Smith had an association with? Which one of these people were compiling the file on Jaden Smith, and after the incident with the child, decided that this is the final moment. We would now need to swoop into the life of Jaden Smith and take him to a place of safety before he's 13. Because under the age of 12, Jaden is not able to go before a court. Under the age of 12, Jaden would have been protected by the Child Care Protection Act. But if Jaden had become 13, it would have been too late. Someone is smart, someone is wise, someone is brilliant enough to be fully aware of the Child Care Protection Act. It's not to do Jaden evil. It's to protect the right of Jaden. It's to protect the right of the child. To make sure the child is safe from public scrutiny, public embarrassment, public disgrace, and public maligning. Ladies and gentlemen, let's reason together. Let's think together. Based on my research, based on my finding, I still do believe that Jaden Smith is alive and well. Not only do I believe the investigation, as said by Superintendent Kerry Duncan, is alive and well, I do believe that Jaden Smith is also alive and well. Read it for yourself. The Child Care Protection Act and the revision in 2017 to 2018 that was brought to the Parliament of Jamaica, that was implemented after being brought to the ministry and the Minister of Education. And this document is now sitting also at the United Nations Development Agency. I rest my case. Let us protect our children, and let us protect the children of others. Until next time, I'm yours truly, Lawton Orlando White, leaving you with the words of the late Bettian Blaine. May her soul rest in peace.
We speak on behalf of children, but we also promote the idea of children having a voice, giving them a voice as well, not just speaking for them. In addition to our lobby work that we do on behalf of Jamaican children and youth, we also run projects for children and youth. And one of those projects involves our work with missing and abducted children. Well, the numbers, it's an alarming situation. It's a growing problem. Every year, over the last several years, we've had over 1,200 children reported missing by the end of the year. From those statistics, however, I want to say that approximately 80% of those children return home at some point. It's a very fluid situation, a very fluid number. So they go missing for weeks, sometimes months, who have been missing for years and have never been seen again. We suspect that human trafficking is one of the problems. We don't know for sure. And so one of the big gaps in the work we do is our inability, the lack of resources that we have in working on that aspect of the problem. In other words, we suspect that there are children who may be victims of human trafficking, but we don't have the information. One of the things that we would like to be able to do, our organization, is to do the case studies, to go into the homes and to get more information. We know that a lot of our children are getting into the sex trade. We know that there is domestic trafficking, in other words, children moving from one part of the Jamaica to the next. But again, we don't have the level of investigation from the point of view of the police or from the point of view of, social work interventions, yes, to really focus and detect this problem.